Hello and welcome back to another episode of Hedgehog Makes. My name is Austin, aka Zombie Hedgehog, and today we have the Sovol SV08. Thank you to Sovol for sending over this printer for an unboxing and review. I am very much looking forward to this, as one of my favorite printers is the Voron 2.4. I have one over there, I have one over there, I have a Trudon over there and a Micron. It's an awesome platform. So I'll get more into why I like that in a bit, but for now, let's jump right into the unboxing and check this thing out. So like I said, this was sent over. It's a brand new printer from Sovol, and they're focusing on what people really want. A couple of big things. Number one, CoreXY. That's the main popular printer design now. Bamboo really changed the game when it came to CoreXY, and everyone followed suit for a really good reason. CoreXY provides faster printing speeds with higher quality and overall less issues, so that's awesome. We're taking a look in the box right now. We have the main gantry, we have a user manual, got a quick guide on Wi-Fi. Okay, so this is running Klipper. The Wi-Fi setup might be a little bit weird, and it looks like, yes, it's going to be a little weird if you're not used to that type of setup. We have US plug. Okay, so it's just a box with all of our accessories and a US plug. Ooh, some little tools. We'll take a look at that in a second. A spool of filament. That's definitely nice. It's white. I'm not a huge fan of white sample filament. I'd rather it be literally any other color but white. But hey, at least with white, you're able to print some stuff out and test it out. I'm not sure if we're going to be using this today. Might throw a spool of Polymaker on here, but we'll see. We have the printer itself, or the gantry at least. So this is a CoreXY gantry. More on that in a bit. I'll put that over to the side and lift up some foam. Nope, we got some more stuff in here. This is the top of the printer. So this is a giant printer. The second thing that people really wanted was a printer so big that it can't even fit in a frame. Everyone loves the CoreXY printing on bamboo, but there's one big limitation, and that's bamboo's 256 millimeter cubed build volume. So this right here is 350. It is 100 millimeters extra on almost all axes versus a bamboo. So you can get a lot of printing done on this. We'll talk about what you can print on it in a bit too. Wow, okay, it's a lot of stuff in here. Very neatly packaged. The screen, this is not a touch screen. It's a very basic screen for Klipper. The tool head is here. Looks like we take out some foam. Trying to see what we can take out. The spool holder, a very basic spool holder and very basic filament sensor. Not sure why companies aren't including smart filament sensors. I don't think this is a smart sensor. You can always correct me on that, but I think this is just a standard sensor. A smart sensor would help detect clogs and issues with your filament feeding. Wow, the feet, like the legs, they all come separate. This is really cool. So if you've ever built a Voron 2.4, you'll know that there is a reduction assembly here. So you go from a motor. Okay, let me just zoom right in. You go from a motor mounted here onto a pulley, and then onto a larger pulley, and that gets reduced into a belt-driven Z-axis. And what they've done is they've made it all one piece pre-assembled. This is probably the hardest thing to build on a Voron 2.4. You get to build 4 of these, and it all comes pre-assembled. You have the linear rail on the inside here. So yes, it is running a linear rail, which is stock for a voron 2.4. Huh. That's pretty cool. So I'm guessing we have 4 of these because there are 4 legs in the printer. Let me move some stuff aside and put this over here. So you have 1, 2. Try not to break anything either. It's very, very well packed. 2 of those. 3. And 4. So just first impressions of this printer. This is going to be a lot quicker to put together than the Trudon 2.0 because you're not assembling anything like the mechanical stuff. The gantry is pre-assembled and all of the Z-axis is pre-assembled. So I'm guessing you're just going to screw this on to the main base and get it going. I'm guessing it'll take around half an hour to get this assembled, but you know, we're going to take this apart and look inside, so it'll take a bit longer. Here's a first look at the tool head. Oh, interesting. So they've taken a custom NEMA 14 motor and they've extended the pin to the back and added a knob. So this can assist in manually feeding the filament. That's something that a normal, you know, a stealth burner style tool head, you don't have that. You can't feed filament in manually. So this, you can, you know, grab the filament, pull it in. I really like that. That is awesome. That's really cool. Tool head itself is very light, you know, does not weigh very much. So, you know, a fast, small tool head equals fast. Ooh. What is this? So we have a what the heck? We have a blower fan here. We also have a little mini blower there. So yeah, this blower has ducts here and another blower, a little mini blower to help with rear cooling. So I guess they found that the cooling wasn't sufficient with just these 3 sides. Oh yeah, magnetic cover, cool. So yeah, there's their fan duct. Let's zoom in on it a little bit more. So an extra fan with this hot end. Huh, that is a huge blower, oh my God. That's a, I don't know. It's thick. 50-20-4? Maybe? Something like that? It's like 50-20? 50-25? Much bigger than a stock voron. It's a 0.5 amp. 0.5 amp at 24 volt blower. Oh my, that is gonna be loud. Damn. And there's an additional one on the back. So this thing better be good at cooling. The hot end looks like a standard high flow design with a, I'm just gonna call it a bamboo style hot end. That's the most familiar terminology. So there we go. We'll have to check the flow capabilities of this. No, it goes like this. Sock looks fairly easy to put on and replace. That's good. Has a little mini board, a double stacked board actually. So a stacked board for what I'm believing is either CAN or USB connection with this wire. It's a 4-wire cable that connects back to the main board. Looks pretty good. It's an orbiter style extruder, which is known to be very good. It's a good design. I am being told it's can. Something interesting is there's a nice little groove here for the wires, but they've just kind of threw them around. It's like it can be wire managed, but they decided not to. Okay. So let's get the hot end cover back on. It's nice that it's magnetic, because if you have an issue, you can just take it off and investigate. So, wow, not bad for a really lightweight, presumably reasonable flow and reasonable cooling hot end. So we'll have to see how it performs, but this looks good from first impressions. So, pretty good. Now let's take this out of the box. I'm gonna set this on the floor and we're gonna lift it up. That makes the most sense for this. If I can get it on there pretty easily. So far it's looking pretty good. The next step, we're gonna take a look at the electronics area and compare that to a stock 2.4. So I keep saying 2.4. And if you're watching this for the first time, or if you're hearing about a 2.4 for the first time, looks like a bolt of some sort. Oh, is this my bolt? I think it's a bolt from something of mine. I'll put that aside. I don't think that's from the printer. Anyway, 2.4 is a printer with a fixed bed. It's designed by Voron, and it's a very, very nice platform. So you have a fixed bed here, and the whole gantry goes up and down. And what Sovol has done is they've been very inspired by this printer, right? Which is fine. You can use the Voron 2.4 design. Voron only asks that if you use a direct part from their printer, that you give them appropriate credit and, you know, open source everything, all the things, right? But it looks like they've changed a lot on this printer, so I'd be surprised if they're actually using any Voron parts in general. Besides the gantry. The gantry is a standard Voron gantry, so we'll get to that in a bit. But first, let's take a look at this base. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hello. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give it a like. If you're watching this live, this is on Twitch. So I have a link to my Twitch page in the description. Make sure to give that a follow and catch me almost every other day where I go live. Ugh. All right, here's the bottom of this printer. Let's zoom out a little more. Good enough. Here is the bottom. Where's everything? Wow, they've really condensed everything. Oh, I see tape here. I wonder if we have to do something. Yeah, we'll have to probably read the manual at one point. But first, let's take apart the base here and look at the controller and setup there. So this is really interesting. Instead of a standard Voron base where it has the 4 extrusions, they've actually moved 2 of the extrusions inward. And then the rest of it is just this big injection molded plastic piece. So if you're looking at modifying we call them the skirt pieces that go around here, you cannot. You would have to replace the whole entire bottom panel. I don't think, yeah, this is all one piece. That's very interesting. Let me take this off and we'll see how hard it is to manage. I'll be using my Outrun sorting tray, available on Thangs, Maker World, Printables. Thank you, Fishbelly on Twitch, for the follow. I appreciate it. Ooh. I lost a screw. Someone see where that went? These are not standard screws. These are self-tapping. They're plastic screws. I don't know if they're self-tapping, but they're plastic screws. Designed to go right into this plastic base. You can probably just use standard M3s. Looks like the right size. But I dropped one like in this general area. Wouldn't be a printer unbuild if you didn't lose a couple things. All right, just feeling the edges here. They are quite sharp. They did not go through the effort of sanding them down. So if you do disassemble this, be very careful. There's a fan right over here. You have to unplug. It is the closest port next to the USB cable. So if you're looking to reinstall it, that's where it goes. Wow. Where is everything? Fishbelly in Twitch says, working on your own voron build this evening. Belt routing is fun. It can be. It can be fun. Wow, look at this. They have a custom Morrison power supply. It looks like it's a 150. It's a weird form factor. I kind of like that. You can actually zoom in on everything just in one shot. Wow. You're using a custom board. I don't know whose board this is, but it does have integrated drivers. So you have to be careful. If you are modifying this printer in the config, do not overdrive these steppers because you cannot replace them. You'd have to replace the whole board. Oh, there's the screw. It has a... Is that a Wi-Fi module? I don't know what that board is. I'm guessing it's... No, I don't know if it's Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is here. It's eMMC. Is it an eMMC module for this board? I don't know. I don't know much about integrated boards for stuff like this, but there's a lot going on here and it's completely custom. So what they've done in a nutshell is taken a Raspberry Pi style computer, single board computer, and smushed it into a controller board. And that allows them to just manufacture this completely custom to this design, kind of like an Ender. And you might hear me say that this might be the Ender 3 of CoreXY machines in terms of upgrading, modding, etc. So more on that later as well. But we have our heater outputs here. Everything looks fairly good. No real complaints. Everything's glued in place as it probably should be for shipping. Over in this area, we have that power supply. This is to run the stepper driver or steppers and board, but the actual bed is run from this. This is a high voltage relay. So it takes mains voltage directly from the wall. So whether you're in an area with 120 or 240 volts, it'll take that directly and power your heated bed. And the heated beds on these things are very, very high power, over 500 watts. This one, I'm guessing it's gonna be upwards to 600, 750 watts. I'm not sure. It's limited in Klipper, so we can take a look at that later. If we can access Klipper, I don't know yet. But it looks like this is a PCB bed. This is not a standard Mic 6 bed. It is a PCB bed. There will be issues with that, so we'll get into that. But power comes in, goes into here, also goes into here, goes into here. Looks pretty cool. I dig it. And this linear rail setup, okay, first of all, I love the color, not linear rails, extrusions. I love this gray extrusion color. It is really nice. X and Y ports are open. You can add RGB. You might be able to add a couple of things on here. A couple. But I'm not gonna get into that today. So let's reassemble the bottom part here and read the instructions. So we're gonna replug the fan in. Like I said, this is the slot closest to the USB. There is a chance that it's a 24/7 fan, meaning it's always on. So we'll have to investigate if that's too loud, as others have said, and ways to change it. Luckily, this is just a steel sheet. If you wanted to, you could theoretically modify that. I'll let you get creative with how you would modify it, but you could modify it quite easily. Add a knock to a fan, just add something, get some more airflow in here. On the side here, I see that we have USB, HDMI, and Ethernet, which is actually quite nice. A lot of these printers don't have Ethernet, but because this is a standard Klipper-based printer, you'll be able to hook it up to Ethernet. From what you remember, uses about 1,000 watts when heating both the bed and hot end. Is that in the US or is that in 240 volt land? But I do not know for sure, so I'm not going to say anything as fact. Let's see. These screws are kind of weird because they're plastic screws. Take a little bit more force to get in than regular M3s. The overall construction, I'm going to say that this printer feels not cheap, but definitely budget oriented. Dropkick, thank you for the subscription. 21 months, I appreciate it. That'll be captured in the YouTube video. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, this printer feels like a budget printer, and that's not a bad thing. Every single thing that Sovol has done on this printer seems to be cost optimized, heavily cost optimized. So will that affect the performance? Maybe, we'll find out. We'll have to test it. Manuel, where'd you go? Under here. West 3D, thank you for gifting a sub to as your koi. There we go. Thank you. Looks like we have a hype train over on Twitch. That's fun. You're missing out on the action if you're watching this on YouTube. It's a lot of fun on Twitch. All right, we have a manual. So some of the specifications, 350 by 350 by 345 millimeters. So very high on the Z-axis. Pretty much as high as you can possibly go on a 2.4 style printer. You can print most materials, 300C hot end, 100C on the bed. Ooh, only 100C? Well, we'll talk about the limitations. Pup Dog, thank you for the 200 bits. West 3D, thank you for the 100 bits. Power supply, 100. That's a little bit misleading. That's very, very, very misleading. 150 watts at 24 volt power supply. That is extremely misleading. Because, yes, the actual power supply in it is 150, but it's using a relay to power the heated bed. So it's going to draw a lot more than that for power. So don't think you can run this off a 150 watt inverter or something like that. We have some pieces. So the first thing we need to do is set up our table with... We have to set it up exactly like that. Okay, we can manage. And take out base, the Z components, and place one corner of the base component on the table. Place the nozzle kit and wiring harness connected to the base and hot end. Connected to the base on the hotbed platform. Nozzle kit and wiring harness? Do they mean like toolhead? This thing? Okay. Hype boxing, unboxing. Yes, lots of hype. I'm actually very excited. I'm trying to read these instructions best as possible. There is a corresponding corner mark. Z1 components are installed in the... Okay, so Z1 to Z1, Z2 to Z2. We'll have to check that out. So the assembly, align Z4 with the left panel of the base and install it to the left. The instructions are very... I will say this is a lot easier than building a 2.4, but it's a little bit kind of... a lot of stuff kind of crammed into one section. If I was Sovol, I would have a really well-defined step for each one of these with a really big picture, kind of like Lego style, right? Where it's just like one step, next step, next step. Make this manual like twice the size and then just have less stuff on one page. That's my recommendation. We have some zip ties. Thank you, Pezliz, for the 10 bits. We have some tools. Looks like there's a bunch of random Allen keys. A little mini screwdriver. Our little nozzle. So both the needle and the unclogger pusher. West 3D, thank you for the 100 bits as well. I appreciate it. Random screws with labeled steps. That's nice. Ooh, this gray PTFE tube. Manufacturers are starting to include this like grayish tube. I dig it. I like it. It's a little jank, but looks like we can probably get that evened out. 3D Printy, thank you for the 1,000 bits. 3D Printy has some amazing models over on all of the major sites, including the newer, what is this thing called again? Printy panels? Is that what that is? Printy panels? But this thing's yeah, Printy panels. It's a fun design you can use to stack infinitely and make your own cool storage unit. Try to remember those things, but there's a lot of models. Oh my god. When you print about 10 million things, they all start to blur. That's a lot of feedback about instructions. Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully they do. Okay. I don't know. We can make mini eggs with this, I guess. We can cook. It's for cooking eggs on the heated bed. A little mini spatula. It's not sharp, so you're not gonna be able to get underneath the print to release something. You don't want to use this on your PEI because it's metal. I don't know. 2. That beats me. We also get, ooh, what is this? Ooh, a very small bit of lube. Nick, thank you for subscribing with Prime for 15 months. It's a long time, thank you. A little bit of lube. A USB with our stuff on it. That's the end of that bag. Ooh, what is this? Could it be? Oh, more blue snips? More? Yay! This is why I buy 3D printers, is for getting blue snips. I'll add it to the collection of blue snips. It's getting kind of hard to put blue snips in there, but okay. Thank you, Sovol. Appreciate it. Alright, so we have some screws, we have some random things. Okay. Oh, ooh! They took the same exact wiper off of like an A1 Mini. So like this style wiper. I think this is gonna be the standard now for wipers. I dig it. I need to get myself like a handful of these and mod some printers. Very cool. This is a painter's spatula? Okay. Well, they tried. Replacement nozzle. This is what the nozzle looks like. It's like integrated heat break, all in one. I'm expecting to see some replacements. I don't know if it's hardened. That's a good question. I don't know if it's hardened. It's probably not. It just says spare nozzle. All right. Let's continue with the instructions. We have this too. It's probably for the spool holder. Get to print your own spool holder? No, it's in here. Oh, there's more tools as well. Rotating spool holder on a bearing. Yeah, on a little bearing. Dynac, thank you for this 6 months. I appreciate it. Nice little rolling spool holder. And then, ooh, okay. So some like actually decent looking ball end drivers. Not bad. That's not bad. I'm gonna keep these out. So it looks like we have a 2, magnetic hardened, ooh, and a 3. Really? No 2.5 at all? Okay, 2 and 3. Standardizing screw sizes. Now, I'm gonna say it now. Do not torque heavily with this ball end driver. So a little 2mm one. If you torque these too much, you will strip the screws because of the ball end. Now it doesn't really look like it's that much of a, it's a really weird ball. It's like, not really a ball. It's like square ball. It's not quite the same as like a standard ball end. It's like a less ball end. Okay, so maybe it's fine. I've never seen that before. Huh, it actually looks pretty good. I'm gonna use it. Jeno, thank you for the raid over on Twitch. We're currently doing a unboxing video on the Sovol SV08. We're currently trying to figure out the Z assembly. But welcome on in. How was your stream? What were you working on? We're trying to read the manual, and that's always the hardest part, is actually reading. Nozzle is plated brass. Okay, so no abrasives. Be very careful if you're gonna print like matte filaments. Those tend to be pretty abrasive. All right, I have my step 1 M4s. We're gonna grab those. This is not a voron. Not a voron. Voron inspired. If anyone tells you this is a voron, that is completely incorrect. A voron is an idea. It's an idea that you can build your own printer from random parts that you can source. Voron is a blueprint. This is not a voron. It's not even remotely close to a voron. It has a giant plastic injection molded frame. But it is voron inspired. And that's important because they've taken one of the best designs in 3D printing and made it commercial, using as little money as possible. It's actually kind of genius. Okay, we need to find where it says 4. It's gonna say 4 somewhere. And I don't know where. Oh, Z4. Okay, Z4 is right here. So we're gonna put that over on the corner here, by the looks of it. And we're gonna find a 4 here. Z1. Z3. Z4. Okay, perfect. Welcome in, Chris Perillo. If you're not following Chris Perillo on Twitch, make sure you're doing so. If you love Star Wars content, that is the place to be. I'm not gonna take off the sticker yet, but it looks like they have some nice feet. I kind of like this style of feet, really wide. It'll be very, very grippy too. So this will go, I was like, damaged it already. This will go like this, but not. I'll have to flip the whole thing around. Oh yeah, okay. I have it backwards. So we're gonna have to flip it. Careful not to damage anything, which you shouldn't. Birthday? It's your birthday. You're gracing us with your presence. Absolutely. So Z4, looks like we're going to install it like so. So yeah, they want it kind of off the side of your desk, and you're going to lift this up into it. Yep, it kind of just slides in and up. Wow. Actually not that bad, just like in here. Thank you guys to the hype train over on Twitch. I appreciate it. If you're not following me on Twitch, do it now. That's your third reminder. I'll stop reminding you. All right, cool. So we can just do that. So that's Z4. We'll just do it randomly. Z1 goes over here. If I missed an instruction, that's my fault. I'm kind of just jumping the gun here because it looks pretty self-explanatory. Maybe. Thank you, Tep Jeeper, for the 6 and 9 bits. Maybe. Let's actually rotate this around. Kind of a weird, awkward. I touched lube. Okay. Careful when you grab the rails, because the rails are covered in lube. That's good. Lube is good when it comes to 3D printers. So we're gonna tilt this around so the corner is facing off the desk. And we're gonna try to slide this up and out. Easier if we're like this, probably. Do I have this right? Yeah, I must. Oh, so it kind of goes in this slot. Is this all right? I don't know why I'm struggling with this. This is Z1. Here. Glenn, thank you for the 100 bits. It feels like this should be a lot easier than what I'm trying to do. I don't know why. Yeah, there we go. You kind of just have to slide it up into place correctly. I don't know why it's so difficult. Ooh, it has carrying handles. Look at that. Nice. So the bottom has built-in handles. That's awesome. That's like the best spot for them too, because you can reach in like this, kind of, maybe like that. Not bad. All right, Z2. Let's see which one of these is Z2. That's Z3. This one must be Z2. There we go. That one went in a lot easier now that I'm getting the hang of it. They do tell you to put this thing on your bed. Just careful not to scratch everything up. It's a brand new bed, and this is a 350 bed, so it has a 350 PEI. They're not crazy expensive nowadays, but a high quality 350 millimeter sheet is reasonably expensive, so try not to break it. Try not to destroy it. Let's see. This should go under here. So one of the interesting things that I kind of laughed when I saw it. The bed, it looks like it's thick, but it's not. It's not at all. It's a plastic housing for a PCB bed to make it look thick. There we go. It's kind of funny. I found it funny. There we go. It looks really good. So that's that. Okay. Let me continue reading instructions. So we have a bunch of M5, M4s. Okay. So it has just a bunch of screws that go in. Read the instructions. Guess it's safer too. Yeah, PCB bed might be quicker to heat up. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. But I do know that we're gonna take we have 2 step 1 bags, or are these all just mixed together? I got like a ton of screws in that step 1 bag. Why did it say M5 by... Okay, they're all kind of separate, but they're not Steps is not really steps. There are no steps to here. But I unboxed step 1, which I think is the M4 screws, so we'll do those first. How level's the bed? Well, it's a PCB bed. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it's mounted to when we get to that point. What are the M4s? The M4s go on the top, going into the base. So let's do that first. It does say 1, 2, 3, 4. So I guess that's the order in which they want you to assemble them. Use their driver. Why not? It's actually kind of a nice driver. They do include both Allen keys and drivers. So that's super nice to see. So this will kind of pull it up into that, into its final position. Hopefully the wires underneath are, I did undo some of the tape, so hopefully they're not being pinched or anything. They worked well in Prusa's forever. Well, Prusa has a much, much smaller bed, and it is very firmly mounted on a back piece. So it's a different design. I don't know what this design is yet, but I'm guessing it's a little bit different. Just gonna go through here. I would strongly recommend using a hand tool for these. You don't want to over tighten anything. It's not that bad to do a couple of these screws. Much, much, much less than building a true voron 2.4. The belts are not gates by the looks of it. It says MS on it. I don't think these are gates belts. It could be fine for the XY. Oh, the gantry does have gates belts. Okay, cool. So the 6 mil belts are gates. That's good. Can't think of anything 300 plus that has a PCB bed other than that one. For a CoreXY, I'm not sure. It's a good question. I don't have a lot of off-the-shelf CoreXY printers. In fact, the only ones that I have are the bamboos at this point. And I'll have this. Okay, so that gets screwed in. Go. Then I have 2 more on this side. Seatbelts are questionable but reinforced. The loops are something you've never seen. Gantry says gates, but you can't tell if they're GT3 or unreinforced GT2. That's a good question. I don't know much about the newer GT3. Is it a standard? I don't really know much about GT3 belts. I've just been using the same GT2 gates belts for pretty much every build ever, as far as I can tell. And they seem to work fine. There we go. We have those 4 screws on. Is that it? I have a lot more step 1 screws, so I wonder if we'll need those later. I should have just kept the bag. I threw it away, but that's okay. I'll use my little organizer to keep all these in the right spot. Next step is the M5x40s. So we have those here. There's only one of those on each side. Glendon loves ambrosia filament. Yeah, I love ambrosia filament. Gotta love the beautiful midnight meteorite. It's a good one. Oh boy, this is quite the long screw. I'm not doing on the right side either. So it's the side that has only one screw hole in it that gets this long M5. Good to know. And it'll go all the way through. There we go. It goes all the way through and down there. Thing looks massive compared to pictures. Yep, it's a 350. 350 printers are giant. A bed slinger looks a lot smaller because, I don't know, it just looks smaller in my opinion. But yeah, this is not a small machine. Keep in mind this will not fit on a standard 16-inch shelf. I don't even know if it'll fit on a 24-inch shelf. Front to back, it is, yeah, 21 and a half inches. So it will fit very nice on a 2-foot deep shelf. Which I don't think a lot of people have. So at the minimum, it'll fit well on any standard desk. Did you get your hands on Enclosure filament soon? Yes, you do. It's pretty good stuff. Fit perfect on 24-inch shelf. Spool mount on the side or back. It's on the top. It's like on the top side. Kind of cool. We'll check that out. M5 screws are in. Step 3, M5 by 15. Okay. Fair bit of screws to get this thing put together. But not unreasonable. Hopefully by the end of it, we'll have a really solid printer that we don't have to take apart. Just for context, just assembling the frame of a standard 2.4 probably takes as much time as what we're doing here. Just the frame. Because that's what we're building right now, is kind of a frame. But once we're done the frame, we're done with the printer assembly. Large bed slingers don't have the outside framing. Yeah, so they take up, they seem to take up less space, where in fact the bed moves back and forth further, so it takes up more space. What's a bed slinger? A bed slinger is a printer, 3D printer, or CNC machine that moves the bed back and forth as one of its motion systems, or one of its axes. Whereas in this one, the bed is fixed. It never moves. So it's kind of like a delta where the bed is just fixed in place and the gantry goes up. What's a bed stinger? Oh, okay. Bed stinger. I don't know. A bee? I read that question as if my brain auto-corrected it. That's funny. Welcome in, MadCat USA. All right, we're getting there. One more step. Coffee break. One last step. We're going to take a M4 by 8 onto somewhere. Oh, okay. So over on the sides right here, there's like a little chamfered screw. Step 4. Yeah, very little. The Stinger is one of the first tap-style probing setups. Interesting. We'll have to look that up. So, interestingly enough, the M4s need a 3 or 2.5 millimeter. So they give you 2 really nice drivers, but they don't give you a third one. They should really just give a 2.5. But that's okay. That's fine. It's literally for like 1 screw or 4 screws probably. But I am kind of happy they included these nice drivers. Wow, I can't get this in. Let me use my other one. It lined up well. Yeah, it's fine. I don't like using the ball ball end drivers for starting screws. Just kind of hard to get them straight. Whereas with a regular end driver, you can just put the screw on it like that and then push it in. So back to what I was saying earlier about this being very cost optimized. They seem to have taken every single step possible within reason to cost down this printer. I think as of this time, yeah, this is a $600 printer. So if you're watching this in the future, this is most likely on sale for $599. They do have a slight discount at launch, as most printers do. But this is a $600 printer. And that is at least half of a voron 2.4. So that blueprint over there is a LDO kit 2.4 350 that I converted to a tool changer. I'm in the process of still converting it, but it's essentially a voron 2.4. And this is also a 350 flying gantry printer. Couple caveats, this is not enclosed yet. They do have an enclosure kit coming. When you watch this, it might already be out. But once that comes in, I'll be installing it and printing some ABS. But I don't know if you're really gonna want to print a lot of ABS on this guy. The bed only goes up to 100C, which might be fine for ASA, maybe some ABS, but big parts on ABS would really benefit from higher bed temps, especially to heat up the chamber. So we can talk about that a little bit more once we get the printer set up. Okay, the screen or the enclosure is available for pre-order. Awesome. They do have a touchscreen add-on too, which is nice. I'll be checking that out as well if that comes in. Wow. All right. So now we... Oh, okay. Well, we did it a different way than they expect you to. They want you to do all of that screwing on one side. I like to do stuff in batches. So we did all of the quarters at once, and then we did all the screws for each one at once. So now we're going to put the top on. So far, do you think the price is fair? In my opinion, without actually using this yet. Ooh, they have six LEDs. Whoops. Here, well, whatever. 6 mini LEDs here on the whole top. Looks like you can add your own lights around the side, but they do include a little bit of lighting. Okay, that's fine. Do I think the price is fair? I think, going off of what I've seen in person, without, hold on, which way does this go? It says Sovol on the front. Sovol on the front, okay. And the front is here, okay. I think they could have spent more money off, wow, that goes in really easy, off this, the start to make this thing just slightly better. You know, they should have included a touchscreen to begin with. The old style LCD is, it just feels a little bit cheap. The extrusions, this right here is really nice. I like the frame. I really like it. But the bed being a PCB bed is probably fine for most people printing PLA. The screen is probably sufficient. It just feels like it screams for a pro version. Who uses screens anymore? Well, for Klipper, I don't use screens, but a lot of people won't be in that mindset. M3x6s for the top. 2 of those for each side. Those will go right in the top of there. But yeah, I don't really use screens on my printer. It's useful for like Z offset calibration. But other than that, I just have my computer right here and I do all the controls right on my computer, because Klipper is kind of like that. But I do use screens when I have them. I use it on the Bamboo. I preheat my chamber using that. I preheat my chamber. I pause the print if it fails, I guess. So is the price fair? I think $600 is a very aggressive price for this printer. So we'll see how well it performs. What I would recommend, again, without actually using the printer, but based off of what I've seen, if they released a Pro version of this with a, well, I don't know if the toolhead needs upgrading, but maybe with an upgraded bed, hot end, screen, like all of the add-ons for slightly faster printing, better quality of life, you know, higher temp rated bed. Kind of a printer for people printing a lot of ABS, we'll put it that way. Maybe even a filter. This is a PLA printer. It is very much a PLA printer, but I think that they could release a version of it that's intended for ABS, and that would work pretty well. What do you mean by aggressive price? I mean that it's very inexpensive for what you get. A couple $100 less and you're getting a little bed slinger. Because from what I can see, this kind of blows it blows like an Ender 3v3 out of the water. So if you have the space, like, why would you not get this over, you know, some of the other units? If you're only printing PLA, right? Like, why would you get a K1 or a K1 Plus or K2 or all of those printers if you're only gonna print PLA? It's a good question. All right, top is installed. That went together pretty easy. I'm a little worried that, yeah, it doesn't seem like it's the most structural. Oof. Yeah, I don't know if you can see this. Let me try to show you best I can. I don't know if I can. Oh, grippy. Okay. If I push the two corners in, I can deform the top of the printer. So, not rigid by any stretch. This is not a rigid printer. But that's not necessarily a problem for most prints. The way that a 2.4 works is that you print low and then you go high. So it's going to be really stable at the bottom, but as you print higher, you start to, you know, it'll vibrate. Like, if you can see visible deformation, that's going to cause little mini artifacts in your print, hypothetically speaking. A very, very, very quick fix is to just install the top panel. Panels on this printer is going to add a ton more stability because it just locks it all in place. So that'll be a big upgrade, is getting a top panel on here. So yeah, adding panels will stiffen some stuff up. So if you're gonna print something super tall, I would recommend maybe keeping the accelerations lower. So yeah, maybe, you know, maybe if they would have had a stronger top frame, that's an upgrade that they can make for a Pro version. Just overall stronger, you know, stronger printer. There's almost nothing to these little extrusions. these little aluminum profiles compared to even like a standard 2020. The way that it's just a C shape, I don't think that really adds much to the strength. I feel like the tubes, yeah, no, on the Trudon you get a full 2020 extrusion. And then the top part is a solid sheet metal piece that prevents it from going back and forth. So I think they can have some slight improvements on this piece. But again, the price point, $600, that is kind of crazy. We have Sovol in the front here. You're currently looking at the back of the printer. Okay. Take the AB axis. Take the AB axis. Okay. So they're calling the gantry the AB axis because yes, in a CoreXY motion system, you have A and B motors. That's where that comes from. Place it as, okay, so we're just gonna like put it in an angle and then rotate into place. So the back of the printer, which is the side that you're looking at, has the 2 motors. So wherever the power plug probably is. Oh no, the power's on the side. Really? The plug is on the side of the printer? Is that right? I guess so. So you just kind of put it in an angle. Like that. And then place it onto here. So it should slide, yeah, slide into each one of these joints. There's a cable here. It looks like that cable is supposed to stay there. Oh, it's a camera. Oh, they have a camera on the gantry. That's something that I wish the stock voron design had. They do not have any camera set up. I'm going to be adding some remote monitoring stuff in the future, and it would be nice if there was a camera assembly built in. All right, I'm having trouble getting this lined up correctly. I don't know why. But you should be able to just drop it down onto here. Yeah, there we go. Just took a try. Perfect. So each one of these sides moves independently. So you can raise and lower this independent. Try not to. Try to keep it as level as possible as you're working on it. Because this design, as far as I can tell, they don't account for tilt. Again, I'm going to say this a lot, on a stock 2.4, there's a little bit of ability to go back and forth. There's like a little pivot point. There is no pivot here. It looks like it's just rigidly mounted, as far as I can see. It's just mounted rigid. So not a bad thing, but you really have to make sure that everything is square. Good news is they have all of these parts pre-done, so everything should be square. Okay. So it looks like, oh, this cable did not make it up. What even is that cable? And is that supposed to make it up through here? They don't give any good explanation of that cable back there. Let's investigate. So there's a cable here, starting to get a little heavy. I'm trying to figure out where it goes. So this right here comes up. And where does it go? What even is this cable? Yeah, no, that's not supposed to go at all. It just plugs in over here. It looks like it comes up. What the heck? What is that wire? No spherical bearings, no. No. Okay. So yeah, that stays down there. So looks like that's all good. So this cable will eventually plug into here. But let's see what screws we need. So this is your A motor on the right side. And you need two M4 by 30s, which are these screws that we had from the initial step 1, I believe. So that screws into where now? Here and here. Okay, so there's two little screws in the back here. That's what mounts it. It is really weird seeing these parts because these are modified voron AB motor pod thingies, whatever they're called. But they're not voron parts, but they are heavily inspired from. Even the way that this extrusion goes back here, as far as I can tell, that's a voron gantry design. So I'm screwing this in pretty tight. Kind of hard to get in there and screw it. It's kind of an awkward. It's kind of hard to find the threading. I don't know if it's because the gantry tilts a little or something. Yeah, so if you're having trouble screwing in these side pieces, move the gantry up or down to kind of square it up. If it's not square, then you might not get these in. And make sure those are tight. And then probably repeat the process on all the sides. Yep. Motion system's kind of cool. It's different than a stock, stock voron, obviously, but it kind of goes at an angle and goes out. Kind of cool. They are using pressed bearings, which aren't the best for upgrading, but it should be good for quality at least. Voron modified to be able to use injection molding. Yeah, kinda. Pretty much it. I like how it's mostly pre-installed, especially gantry. A lot of users have the most issue with getting the gantry built correctly in a 2.4. If it's too wide, it'll bind. If it's too narrow, it'll bind. If stuff is not correctly spaced, it'll be racked. You have to de-rack it. There's a lot of little things that really add up when building a printer like this, especially 2.4, that new builders might run into issues. So seeing that all commercialized is very interesting. And so far, it seems like it's good. I mean, they're even using a belt tensioner on the front. Like it's it's very, very, I wouldn't say it's copy-paste, but they have used the blueprint of a voron 2.4. They were inspired, it says right in the box, it's an extension of a 2.4, but they've redesigned it, for better or for worse. I do like how they use injection molded parts. I'm all about printing parts, but I would rather see really good injection molded parts versus kind of poor printed parts. For example, the Trudon, while it does have a self burner, it is kind of a poorly printed self burner, which makes you question the extruder assembly. So at least with injection molded parts and CNC metal parts, etc., you know that it's going to be a little bit, hopefully, it'll just work. Hashtag it just works. If you turn Inspired by Voron to a drinking game, you're in trouble. Yeah. Hey, it is, right? But you have a lot of content creators saying that this is a voron. And again, it's not. It's a very complicated machine. If you've never built a voron, yeah, it looks like a voron. Sure, why not? Probably acts like one. But there we go, we have all of these screwed in. Not bad. We put the spool holder on first, okay. We'll let the tool head just sleep there for a minute. The spool holder. Oh, cool. All right, so the inlet is here. That's what this piece is right here. So the inlet, rotate this again. You're a favor of 3D printed parts. It makes a very moddable and ever-changing design possible. Yeah, I like 3D printed parts. Don't get me wrong. But this is not a... They're not expecting people to swap out the gantry and upgrade parts, which you can. You can just design 3D printed parts for this and print them yourself. I actually designed a Sovol SV06 Z-Sync mod that syncs both Z-axes to fix the first layer issues of the printer. And that was only possible because I was able to print out replacement parts. So as long as these parts are printable, you should be able to modify it. I mean, you can replace the whole entire gantry on this printer and go crazy. Add all-wheel drive motors and do all kinds of fun things if you wanted to. But I think the majority of people, the target market for this printer, I don't think a lot of people are going to want to upgrade the printer. Just my recommendation, this might be a hot take, but buy a printer, get it assembled, and use it. You don't need to jump right into modding it. You don't have to tweak the firmware. Just use the printer. That is the best thing to do. Once you're comfortable with it, once you've gotten some time on the printer, then you can upgrade it. But give it a little bit of time. Get used to the printer. I even try to do that with some of these guys too. Unless it's a very obvious upgrade or mod, you know, like switching from a glass bed to a PEI bed. But even then, switching from a glass bed to PEI can cause issues. You can't just, you know, you can't just tram it anymore. Now you have to use a probe because a PEI bed will warp where a glass bed will not. So buy a printer that you don't have to spend time modding out of the gate, if you can. Oop. And there's plenty of good options nowadays. Unfortunately, one of my best recommendations now is still Bamboo, because their printers seem to just work more than other printers. But, you know, printers like this, there are now options, right? A good printer that just works is not going to be cheap. So it's nice to see this system hopefully being a printer that will work for quite a long time. Hopefully. There's a spool holder. And then we'll have our little spool thing. And then that little thing is a locking ring for it. So locking ring goes on there. Pretty standard if you've ever assembled or any off-the-shelf printers. There we go. Very nice. Yeah, a little not the most structural, but it's just holding filament. Not a big deal. Yeah, we got an SV08 sent over by Sovol. So again, thank you to Sovol for that. Very appreciated. But as always, thoughts and opinions are my own. Adventure 5M as a printer just works. Yep, I just recently picked up a standard version of the 5M. I'll be checking that out. Okay, now we're doing the extruder module, so the tool head. The nozzle cover is magnetically connected. When removing it, unplug the fan. Okay, that's reasonable. So you're screwing it in with M3x12s. Okay. Well, I guess I'll tilt it this way. Getting a little bit heavy. But heavy is good when it comes to printers. You want a heavy printer. That's the idea. So you have the cover right here. It comes right off. It looks like you'll be able to easily 3D print your own cover if you want to change the style of it. That'll be neat to try out. I love this. I'll show this again. Such a simple design. You have the extruder with a hot end that's pretty much bolted right to the extruder and rigidized on a back plate. Seems like it's a really good design. I don't really know. The fan situation is kind of... It feels like it's a band-aid versus a more or less properly designed cooling situation. But hey, we have to try it out, right? The carriage. It looks like a standard voron belt path in terms of spacing. So, hypothetically, we should be able to... Oh, I don't know if I have any around. Let's see. We should be able to take our tap changer. That's what everyone wanted to see, right? Tap changer, back plate, and go like that. Right on there. Hypothetically speaking. To be determined. It's huge. Yes, this is a 350. If you've never seen a 350 2.4, it's quite big. All right. Something important to note is where the wires attach. Wow, they give you like no instruction on how to assemble it. Yeah, I'm guessing at least one person is going to install it like this. So they had the extruder here. All right. Extruders like this on the bed, and they're gonna put it on here, and then they're gonna put this on here. Is there anything wrong with that? Yeah, the cable's underneath here. So I don't see any pictures showing it coming over. They really need to specify that, because you're gonna get a lot of people that the last printer they owned was a Ender 3. So, not judging here, I'm just saying it's a completely different style printer than anything else in the market currently of this caliber. So you gotta expect people are gonna mess that up. One person redid it. Oh my god. I'm sure. I'm sure. I don't like the cable. It's very flimsy. I would like a very nice defined cable. I'm guessing these are just like bare wires in here. But we'll see. I also don't like the, for better or less, umbilical Z. It seems like a very poorly implemented umbilical Z. Just very floppy, and I'm worried that it'll actually, if you don't wire it correctly, it could get onto your bed. So we'll check that out in a second. Actually, we should probably do that first because it has to be twisted in a certain direction. Let's see, how is this rear gonna work? Let's point it towards here. Move the camera. So the rear of the printer. The rear of the printer has this coming up. Typically on a 2.4 style printer, there is a cable chain. But this is a kind of umbilical design. So it's gonna go up and down like this. I think it mounts like, oh, really? Wow. Yeah, it mounts like this. You'll want the cable kind of wanting to go out towards the back of the printer. You can probably twist this in a way to where it wants to come forward like that. You do not want that. You want to make it so it's kind of coming out like that. When you have a panel on, it'll just rest up against it. But you want it so it goes up and down and kind of goes towards the back. XD Gaming, thank you for the 3-month subscription. I appreciate it. So yes, that's very important. And again, there's nothing that really explains that. For the target market of this printer, they are not explaining nearly in detail enough to what they should be. But this is step 8 M4x12. So you actually need to do step 8 before you do the tool head because the wire has to be twisted in a certain direction for it to work properly. But that's okay. We will install that here. I feel like someone needs to do a unboxing and just like installation video on how to assemble this properly. There probably is one out there, but it's important to like understand how the cables are going to go before you assemble the printer. With the enclosure, they will include a drag chain. Do they actually include a drag chain? Shenanigans, thank you for the 1,000 bits. Thank you so much. If you haven't checked out Shenanigans streams on Twitch, go check him out. He does some awesome mad science projects. They're a lot of fun. Let's check out that enclosure. But thank you again, Shenanigans. Let's see. So this is the enclosure upgrade kit. It has a top, bottom. Are these not see-through? Which is fine. I'd prefer it wasn't see-through. So if you have a camera in here, you can't see behind the printer. Waterproof? Oh god. PSA, installing into what depth? It's not waterproof. Yikes. Oh dear. Dustproof. I'm not even okay. Yeah. Don't read any of that. It will be quieter, for sure. You can play with your Duplo when the printer is over on the floor. Wow, some of these ads. The heat. Heat is a definite must if you're printing mainly ABS ASA. That'll help out infinitely versus open air. Brilliant details. Okay. All right. What do they have? Easy install. Okay. Nylon drag chain. So that does fix the cable issue. Does come with a drag chain. Dust-proof mesh cover and a fan. Dissipate heat and reduce temperature. Okay. So that is for if you're printing PLA, you turn on the fan, which I'm guessing it does by default, but it turns on the fan for exhausting hot chamber temps. If you're printing with PLA, I strongly recommend keeping your doors open. There's almost no reason to besides, I guess, noise. but you want as low as a chamber ambient temperature as possible. But yeah, that's the kit. All right, not bad. We'll check it out when it comes in. I guess we're going to have to test it, right? Is it waterproof? I guess we'll have to find out. Oh dear. But hey, step one, get this drag chain set up correctly, and then you can install a tool head. So you're gonna want to, it's kind of hard to explain, but you're gonna kind of want to figure out how the cable is going, because you can actually twist this and it changes how the cable goes. So my recommendation is to figure out, yeah, it'll probably want to be straight as possible. So a very straight connector like this. Yeah, that's how you're gonna want to have it. So straight up and down, not twisted. Everlasting Media, thank you for the 9 months of subscription. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So big and quiet, your wife and baby can sleep in it. Yeah, there you go. All right, tool head just kind of sits on there. And then we screw it in with 3 screws. This is what I'm excited for. I am gonna definitely get Dragon Burner on here. That's a must. I kind of want to swap out. My goal is to like Dragon Burner this, or at least upgraded toolhead, you know, fan ducts, but kind of maintain everything. Toolhead is magnetic cover. Yeah, it just kind of pops on there and pops off, which works well if you're actually screwed in. But it holds itself in place pretty well. So 1 screw goes here. Second screw goes here towards the bottom, which is good. What is this? Oh, it's just a fan duct, I think. Is that a fan duct? No. This is a sensor of some sort. It's a type of sensor underneath here, like an inductive sensor. From what I've heard, and I'm gonna have to test this, but I think this has a non-temperature compensated inductive sensor. So we'll see how well that works for consistency offset when you print. But I can't comment on it until I figure out which screw hole this goes in. Maybe this one? There we go. Just find a hole until it works. Isn't your goal to put Dragon Bird or everything? Yep, that's the goal. So if this is running CAN, it's possible to just delete everything here and install our own toolhead board. And since this is just Klipper, you know, we can grab an EBB36 or whatever, and then just put it on here. Hypothetically speaking. So we'll investigate that at a later date. Let's get this thing actually up and running. Oh no, did I use the wrong tool? I think I used the right one. No, I used the wear. Oops. I just grabbed whatever's closest. Hey, if I confuse these, you know, that's a good sign. They give you a little wear. This actually looks like a Weehaw. Weehaw, is that the brand? Clone. All right, that's there. The screen, do we have to, okay, lots of connections coming out. I'm going in order. So next we have the screen. Now the screen is a very basic, non-touch scrolling screen. I'm just gonna leave the cover on. It's fine, it'll probably be fine. But I would strongly recommend eventually upgrading to the HDMI screen to give it more usability. It does say EXP1, EXP2. I've actually never used one of these little LCD screens with Klipper, so that'll be fun. I honestly haven't. How's it going, Pete? So if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the like button if you haven't yet. If you're watching on Twitch, well, hello, you're watching this live. How does it compare to P1S screen? Oh, it'll be much worse. Maybe, I don't know. But probably about the same. Yeah, in this, again, it's all just hopefully standardish Klipper, so you can do whatever you want, but they will sell an official HDMI touchscreen. So that actually just plugs in and snaps on, very easy. I don't even have to show you that. It has a stop button. I don't know what that does. Is it like an e-stop button? That'd be kind of cool. Aha! All right, all the cables, it's all just in one big page. So pay very close attention. In fact, when you're done with the cable, cross it off to make sure you get them all. The most important one is the camera. The camera does come with a little cover on it, so take that off. Looks like a nice little wide angle camera. Damn. Not bad. This plugs in over here. They're actually running, oh, neat. That's one way to do it. They're running a cable cover on the outside. I don't think I've ever seen that. But then again, if this was a normal 2.4, this will be flush with this, so you can't really do that and with panels. How does this bed probe? It has what looks like a little mini inductive sensor, and we'll have to test that out. Actually, wait a minute. The camera's already pre-wired. What is this cable? Oh, geez. What is this cable? I don't even know. Lots of tape. Oh, okay, this just connects down here. Z4. What is this for? I guess we're gonna leave this taped connector on. If it's black tape, you don't remove it, right? Yeah, black tape you don't remove. White tape you do. Wow, what is this little itty bitty connector up here? What is that? Oh man, I'm just skipping everything anyway. Okay, camera butt connector. That is over here somewhere. Lots of little random connectors. Oh jeez. Camera. Okay, the camera connector's here. And this will have to go to the gantry. But how is it wired? Because it's very important how you wire this up. It just says plug it in. Wow, okay. So it's gonna route down, but where? Where from that? Towards the back? I guess so, behind the motor, maybe? Yeah, behind the motor, makes the most sense. Okay, so it'll come over behind the motor. Behind the motor. So through the thing, and then there's a little zip tie slot here for it. So then you get to undo this right here. I'm expecting a lot of people to wire this incorrectly. I'm just saying that now. There's way too much room for error. So that gets plugged in like that. So that's the 5-pin connector. Cool. So that'll get zip tied there. These are A and B motors. I'm guessing. Ooh, this is just silicone. This is actually the same type of silicone that I use sometimes. Very, very interesting. That'll plug in here, and that probably gets pressed into the extrusion like that. And then there's this wire here for our A motor, the shorter one. Sorry, Y. And that just goes up in here, except there's a little zip tie slot. Okay. Light butt connector. Where is that? Oh, all the way over here. Wow. If you get one of these, it's gonna be purple. Yeah, I'd be interested. Has anyone reprinted parts of this yet? Is there anything else we have to plug in here? I think we can go ahead and just zip tie it now. We can go for that. Let's do that before we forget. So that just goes straight through here. Kinda. There we go. So make sure you zip tie this so it doesn't flop around. There we go. Not bad. Digital Dragon, thank you for the 22-month sub. That's a long time. I appreciate it. Okay, that's the cables down there. Let's go to the light butt connector, which is this one right here. I need a Lazy Susan. I know I actually have one, but it actually makes it harder to do stuff because the whole thing is just twisting the whole time. So this gets wired somehow. The wiring's the easy part. It's the cable management that's unknown. So I guess this just goes above the PTFE tube. There's like one... What else is over here? I gotta twist this around. Lazy Susan with the handbrake. Now that would be neat. I would be interested in that. Can we get one of those when I upgrade the studio? It's a good idea. Okay. Lots of little tape. Luckily the tape comes off pretty clean for the most part. Yeah, it looks like it's pretty clean. All right, this right here, this is our filament sensor. So that gets plugged in here. But then where's our light butt connector? Where is that? Oh, okay, so this just plugs in here. Okay, we already plugged in the light butt connector down here. And now we have the little mini itty bitty, the cutest LED ever up here. I'm guessing a lot of people are going to install their own lights, but this is probably sufficient to just, give it some light at night. It's very hard to plug in. Brett when he uses those tweezers. Stepper, a stepper driven Lazy Susan? Yeah, that'd be nice, but you wouldn't want it to be battery or, powered. That kind of defeats the purpose. But maybe, you run a little power cable to it. Maybe. Given ideas that I I should probably write down and not really investigate on stream. There we go. Whew. Foot pellet powered. We can do a clay stream. There we go. Getting there. Please retract the remaining filaments before replacing them with a new spool. Please retract the remaining filaments before replacing with a new spool. Interesting. Okay. So the filament sensor is going to go above the PTFE, I think. So yeah, it kind of feeds like this. So the cable's gonna come up and around. So we gotta install the PTFE connector probably. Maybe. Nope, it doesn't. Just zip ties in. So it'll zip tie over here. It's a little zip tie slot. Let's see. There we go. Get right in the printer. Get in the action. That goes like that. And then like that. Ish. And then make sure that it's able to move appropriately. Ooh, I don't like this cable. Well, we'll come back to that later. We'll come back to it. Then we have all of the Z connectors. So those are on, wait a minute. Those are on the bottom, so we have to tilt this. The best way to tilt it is probably on the back. We have this connector down here too. Just lots of connectors. All right, I think that's it. So let's tilt it, I don't know, on one of its sides. It doesn't really matter. Put it on this side. Ugh. Let's see. So I'm just gonna quickly plug in the steppers. They're very quick. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. Very quick, very easy. Just little plugs. They're all kind of just there. I think they come taped and I removed the tape, but that's easy enough. Actually, I'd put it on its back because I'm kind of deforming the feet by putting it on its side. So when you do that, tilt it on its back side. And I think that is it. Let's move this over back a bit. Oh man. Not a light printer. And it does come with this little tiny bar here, and that goes underneath the B motor area, and that'll hold that wire in place. That's kind of like a stock voron. That's how it's intended to be done. Fun fact. Comes with the power cable. You ready to power it on yet? Almost. Ooh. There's clips. Oh, wait a minute. Interesting. So we do the PTFE tube, which has a coupler? Why does the PTFE tube have a coupler? What? How do they intend you to do this? Is it like here so you can remove stuff manually here? Like, what's the point of the coupler here? Okay, pneumatic coupler, it does say it goes up there. Whoops. I already, it went in a little too easy. Oops. So I gotta take out the little blue thing, remove it. Coupler goes at top. To remove filament from it after the sensor. We'll have to investigate that. But this goes up here into the sensor. I see, because when you plug it in the sensor, it's like locked, and if you want to remove it, you gotta like take this out. Okay. It's a kind of a nice coupler. I like this coupler. Wow. That's nice. Not bad. And then they do give you some little twist tie thingies. they give you these little things, and they're intending you to like attach this cable to the PTFE using 3 ties. What? Are these 3 ties? What? When installing cable ties, the first cable tie is installed 50 millimeters away from the nozzle, the second is installed 120, and the third cable is installed 120 away from the second. Wow, that's very not specific. I mean, actually, it's very, very specific. That's what I meant. It's like overly specific. All right, let's do that. So the first one is 50. Let's grab our fancy ruler. So 50. They're right here. Okay. And then 120 millimeters away from that. So 120. That is here. Hey, they're saying measurements. I'm going to use measurements. That's right up here. All right. These are very lovely looking. And then the third one is another 120 away from this. And that is about right here. Interesting. Okay, that works. Not the prettiest solution, but it works. So this is so when you move it to the corner, it can still kind of move where it needs to. Okay. Should we install this front cover back on? Probably. Ooh. I have an idea. Before we get started, let's check our belt tension with our fancy West 3D belt tensioner. So the top belt, I think this is the A belt. A belt, we have, 1.7. Wow. 1.7 out of 2. And this one is 1.9, 1.85, 1.8, 1.75. It's about a little bit off. It'll probably be fine, but it's a little off what it's supposed to be for voron spec. So you'd have to do is probably tighten these both a little bit, but don't just randomly tighten belts. Leave it alone. Don't touch it. Just leave it alone. Break it in, and then you can adjust it. How's the racking? Well, by that test, it's going to be a slightly bit skewed. Ever so slightly. But nothing is really able to be skewed, so I guess seems fine-ish. Ooh, belt path seems a little sus. Not perfectly straight. Yeah, the belt path is a little weird. The top belt here, I don't know if you can see that, but the top belt gets closer as you approach this. It's not perfectly straight, but that shouldn't be an issue. This looks like it's mostly fine. Feels fine. Everything's very smooth. Okay, good enough. So I'll power this thing on. Everything's plugged in. You guys ready? Let's plug it like this so you guys can see what's going on. All right, powering on in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 2 1/4. No, that's not 1 1/4. Shoot, the power cable's really on that side. It's not long enough. Why is it not in the back? Okay. You know what? You know what? I dig that. I actually kind of dig that. You can put this flush against the back wall. I like it. Do we need to adjust to 120, 240? I guess not. It's on! Oh, it's loud. Wow! That is ridiculously loud. Okay, well, that fan's getting replaced ASAP. The fan on the bottom, it is definitely on all the time, and it is very loud. But we have fan spin. Woo! Oh boy. USB. Well, this is doing its thing, which it looks like it's done doing its thing. Oh wow, that camera is very tilted. Have you leveled your camera? Yes, there we go. It's a printer. We running yet? Yeah, now we are. Wi-Fi operation guide. Use the USB flash drive, insert it, search for the file name wifi.config, and edit it. All right, let's do that. I'm not going to show you my Wi-Fi password. I don't want you hacking into my mainframe. But let's see if it homes. Wow, that fan, I can hear that through my headphones. That is crazy. Ooh, I don't like the screen. Wait, how do I... Okay, you press it to get in the menu. Ooh, the light, it lights up. That's cool. Leveling? Sure, let's level it. Calibrate, Quad-Gantry level. Perfect. Do the thing. It is heating up the bed to 65 to do a QGL. Okay, well, we're gonna be here for a little bit. Yeah, the screen is small. It is a budget printer. But as long as it prints well, if it prints well, I'm fine with that. I am perfectly fine with that if it prints well. Because I don't really use screens on my printer. And wow, it literally just has SSID equals, password equals. That's very secure. Okay. Do you know the final price? Yeah, $600. $600 for this printer. And then it is $170 for the enclosure. And how much is the screen? I don't actually know. I don't even know where you found that enclosure. Accessories, SV08, okay. 11 products. The screen is $100. Wow, that's expensive. But it's for the whole kit. What does it come with? Does it have a USB port? I can't tell. There's like no information on it. But I'm guessing everything you need. $100 for the screen. $170 for the enclosure. So the question is, would you have purchased this if it was $270 more? Hey, our first home. Nice. Ooh, it's inductive though. Okay, it does have hypothetically an auto Z offset tool, so we're gonna check that out. $100, $200 more? No. Yeah. Let's say it was 200 more. Yeah, it's actually more than 200. That'd be an $800 printer. Now you see why they included a little mini screen, right? Right? Yeah, K1 Max. Yeah. Yep. So it's good to have options. It really is. So I appreciate what they've done with this by costing it down. And it allows you to do your own upgrades. Let's say you don't want the 5-inch touchscreen. Let's say you want a 7-inch touchscreen. You can do it. Hey, it passed QGL. Nice. You need to load filament for the Z offset test. We'll do a small test print. Oh, okay, cool. Good to know. I haven't got to that stuff yet. I was just procrastinating while I was doing the Wi-Fi. Power on the machine and plug in USB. Post insertion. Wait about 15 to 20 seconds before moving on. Okay, I'm just gonna do these over here. Oops, wrong button. I'll do this over here just to make sure. All right, so plug in. Wait a few seconds. Looks like you could have a more rigid top frame with corner brackets. Yeah, a whole top panel would be amazing for this. Just slap on a top panel, that'd be good. Assuming that it still is able to print at its full build height with the top panel on it. But yeah, some pretty simple-ish upgrades. There's even holes here that you can make your own little corner bracket. Power cord's looking scary. Yeah, the power cord is not ideal. But don't worry about it. Alright, I need to go to use the knob to navigate the screen menu and hit the advanced menu. Advanced. Okay. Select it to view your machine's IP. Nothing. What? Advanced. Show IP. Oh yeah. 1.211. Okay. Let's try that. 211. 211. Hey! We're in! Nice! Oh, it has a camera. Great. Let's put that like this. Let's see. Let's see what the camera shows. Oof, that camera is not pleasant. It's very wide angle. I'm just gonna hide it because it's very like. But it works. We do have basic mainsail. See? Mainsail. Yay. Webcam, console, height map, machine. Here's our files. Look at that. Printer backup. Let's see. Go up here and hit, or down here and hit all, so we can see all of our files. We have our printer config, and look at that. Let's check out the printer config. It's very fisheye camera. Oh yeah, it's very wide. You'll be able to see everything and more with that. Ooh, this might be a great candidate to use something like Octo Everywhere. Maybe. Has a resonance tester built in. We'll be able to see. Ooh, We can probably just straight up use shake and tune with this. We'll have to try that out on a future stream on Twitch. Dampening ratio, never seen that for input shaper. It's defaulted to some random value that's obviously not correct. Probe pressure, so it's a weird probing setup. Has a homing override. At bed mesh, 500 millimeters a second, that seems about right. QGL. All right, looks reasonable. 0.8 amps for the extruder. Pretty high. I'm sure it's correct. But they're probably properly driving the extruder motor. If you find that your extruder is getting way too hot, you can reduce this current, but I don't recommend just changing settings right off the bat. Yeah, looks... They have a chamber fan that's set up, but probably not activated because you don't have them plugged in. G-code arcs is enabled by default, so you can use arc commands in the slicer. That's great. I don't know if it has... Actually, what version of Klipper is it? Will it tell me? Yeah, there's the webcam. Zoomed way in. Ooh, filament sensor. Empty. So it's on. Very cool. Except I don't see like a Moonraker config that tells us everything. But we are running version 12 dirty. But it's Klipper 12. Exclude objects there. So yeah, it looks like it's pretty much set up. Awesome. Nice. I dig it. Lots of information for Wi-Fi. Let's carry on. Oh, that's kind of cool. All right, this is actually really cool. They give you a full-on like breakdown of the menu. So like each menu and the sub-menus. Very cool. So this is a really good reference to get into each menu. You don't even get that with touchscreens. Cool. Nice. So let's see. What does it want us to do next? Screen. We set up the Wi-Fi. Let's grab a spool of Polymaker. What's on top of here? ABS PLA Pro Bronze. Ooh, I like that. PLA Pro Bronze. Brand new spool from Polymaker. Go. We're gonna carefully rip open this bag so we can save the reusable bags. Did you know that Polymaker bags are reusable? You can cut them or you can rip them. Just be careful. And they have a very nice little opening that you can put your filament back in for proper filament storage. Love that about Polymaker spools. So here's a metallic bronze Keller. Pretty standard filament when it comes to your settings, so it should work well with their settings. Nothing too crazy. So we're going to cut it at a tip. I'm just using my own pliers because I collect the blue snips. And we're going to feed this in at the top through the filament sensor. Ooh, alright, yeah, I see the issue with this. I see the immediate issue with this filament sensor. Or not filament sensor, spool holder. I don't know if you can see it, you can barely see it. But watch this, as I load filament, it continues to spool. Spools really shouldn't be on bearings because they over spool. And then it gets unwound and then gets tangled up. So, yeah, be careful with that. We'll probably look at just getting a different setup for up here. But I like where the spool holder is located. I quite do. It's out of the way, it's at the top, so you can access it once it's against the wall. This printer is designed to be mounted or placed right up against the wall. Amazing. There's no cables coming out the back. It's completely flat. Take notes, other companies. I love it. All right, now I'm gonna go back to our screen. Can I just use the macros? Yeah, we're just gonna click macros on the load filament. There we go. And that's why I don't use the screen, because I have a nice screen right here. So I went to my load filament macro, which is right there. Now it's heating up to 250. If only had a 3D printer to make a different spool holder. Yep. Or you can feed it in for something like a rep rack or something else. Oh, it's loading. It's spinning. Now I really wish, do I press it in manually? Is it extruding? Okay, the extruder spins really fast because it's a orbital style. And there we go, it's loaded some filament. It's oozing out right in the middle of the bed. You'd think with all their fancy macros, it would do something different. You know, like load into like a little bucket in the back, etc., then wipe it when it's done. It has a wiper. Is that because I'm not using their command? Can I do a nozzle wipe? Clean nozzle. Okay. Oh, it does this thing where it like wipes in the front. He's up to 220. What the heck? Okay, then it goes to wipe. Oh, like a little wiping routine. So that's what it should do. It should load filament in the front here. So it extrudes a little blob right in the front, and then retracts, and then goes to wipe. And I think we're good now. So now I can rehome the Z-axis. Now it has to cool. It cools down the nozzle to 130. Does it actually use the nozzle to home? Why does it cool down the nozzle to 130? I thought it was an inductive probe. Maybe it's not. No, it is. It's okay, just to prevent oozing, I guess? Huh. Strange. Doesn't touch a switch. For the Z offset it does. So that is the next step. Okay. Z-axis leveling. Calibrate Z offset. Let's see. Is that a macro? Yeah, it looks like we'll have to do this from the touchscreen. Prevent damaging PEO. I don't think so, because it doesn't actually touch it. I'm guessing it's prevent oozing. Interesting. All right, we need to go here. Calibrate Z offset. Is that right in the front here? Hold on, where is it? Under leveling. Leveling. Leveling, calibrate Z offset. Okay. Wonder what macro that uses. It is a unknown. Yeah, I shouldn't touch it. Shouldn't. Wow. Stock acceleration is 4K, or sorry, 40K. That seems pretty... 40K at 700 millimeters a second. That seems, like a lot. So I wonder what kind of motors they're running. Actually, what are the motor currents? You should be able to see that. Motor currents are 1.5 amps. Okay. We're even tuning it slightly. No, they're not. They're using sensorless. That's why. No stealth chop. You like the screen surround? Nope. I don't like the style of the skirts or the screen personally, or the hot end. Like, the styling is very, in my opinion. The skirts aren't too bad. The triangles, it's very milk cratey. In fact, that's what we're gonna name this printer, Milk Crate. Milk Crate, there we go. Milk Crate 350. Perfect. Just wiping the nozzle, doing a little clean. And then it's gonna probe something? Oh. What's it gonna do? No, just waiting. It's heating down to 130 now. So instead of 150 for voron tap, it's using 130. They probably had issues at 150 where there's too much ooze. So they're cooling it way down to 130. I wonder if it's gonna try to wipe again. Nope, the nozzle is clean. Nozzle looks perfect. It's homing using the inductive probe. And now it's slowly, very slowly gonna hit that little dot. I'm guessing that's some type of strain gauge. And then it's going to inductively scan the strain gauge thingy and then the bed. Okay, so that got a offset. It says Z probe pressure Z 0.38, probe Z 1.68, difference minus 1.3. Calculate offset minus 0.24. Okay. It is using adaptive mesh. It generated a little mesh, and now it's going to do a test print. So this is technically our first test print. So it goes over to the side. And don't tell me it just does a purge line. Oh man. If it can go all the way to the back here, they could put a little bucket here for purging, right? You'd think so. The plate don't have guides. The plate has some guides, but I also installed it, so, you know. I'm expecting others to just kind of throw on the plate. And we're extruding. We can see that extruder move. Oh, it does a blob and then a line. Okay. 2 lines. Yeah, it reminds me of an SB06, just like different. Oh, 3 lines. Okay. It's really purging. Okay. and we're printing. Man, it's been a while since I printed with the PLA Pro metallic bronze from Polymaker, and I forgot how good it looks. It is a beautiful, beautiful color. I did a Wexter Dragon Base in that, and it just looks so good. It looks high. It definitely looks high, but we'll let it do its thing. You gonna do a speed benchy on it? We can run their default speed benchy. I'm sure they have it. I love this. The status is printing now with 3 exclamation points. And yes, I named it Milk Crate 350. But this is what it's printing, a little test offset thing. I don't know, just some circles. Yeah, we are way too high. And that's what I don't really get, is what's the point of a auto Z offset system if it doesn't work? Creality has one that doesn't work. Anycubic has one that doesn't work. Like, is it just me, or have I not seen anyone else with a an offset that works out of the box? So I think the idea is to just kind of check them, and then lower the offset, and then lower it a bit again, as it does all 4 of them. It's like 4 K2 test discs in one. But you can't really see it as it's printing. So yeah, that's the idea, I guess. Make one of the circles, look at it, say, no, it needs more squish, and then make another one. I'm down 0.1. 0.1. Yikes. That's way off from stock. Like, if you printed with these, like, look at it. It's just not even, that's not flat at all. And let's check out this last one. So you should be able to take this off as one clean layer, and it still needs more squish. After all of that. So, yeah. Which, you know, okay. If you go into this with the expectation that you'll have to do some manual tuning, that's fine. I'd rather be high than low. Yeah, the table is not very solid. That'll be upgraded once I get the new studio, of course. Let's put this bed on straight. Ish. There we go. And I don't know if it's saved, because it did a save after. I'm guessing it might have saved the offset. I don't know. Let's run a benchy fast without a time lapse. That's kind of cool. You can select time lapse, yes or no. So let's do one speed benchy. Sorry, not a speed benchy, a fast boat. Speed benchy is implied that it's sliced correctly, and I have no way of knowing that they've sliced a proper speed benchy. So much like a lot of the other manufacturers, they just included a fast boat. But we'll see. What do you guys think? It looks a little jank, but it seems like it'll work. QGL. I love the caution hot surface stickers. It really looks good. Not bad for out of the box, little tuning, not bad at all. Yeah, doesn't look that bad. I'm guessing that it's not actively writing from the USB drive, so I can unplug it and then start installing their, I guess Orca Slicer is on here? Let me check. I will be releasing a fully tuned profile for this printer on my Patreon, so check that out as I develop it. Once I have a pretty good profile, I'll release it as beta for you guys to check out. And any changes to the printer.config file, I will include as well. So check that out at patreon.com/zombiehedgehog. Or check out my streams and I'll explain what I'm doing. Orca Slicer Windows. Okay. Do I just run it off of the SD card? I actually don't know how that works. The SD card flash drive. Do you have a fully tuned SV06 Klipper file? I do not. I have just started to release them, and I've never owned an SV06. I had a Plus, and I never really got to the point where I was tuning it well. But if that's something people are interested in, I can definitely, try to pick up a printer and tune it. That'll be the goal for a lot of printers this year, is not necessarily doing reviews, but explaining how to get them working better. But I can certainly help out. Just send me a message on Patreon and I can get you sorted. At least I can estimate a profile. Ooh, very cool. They tell you... Oh, we have fast boat going. They tell you what each one of the connectors on the board does. That's really cool. So looks like we have fast boat. Looks like it needs a lot more squish. Like a lot more squish. Let's go another 0.05 down. But it looks like it's printing pretty fast. Fan's starting to kick on. Not incredibly loud. You know what? No, it's a one-wall benchy, not a speedboat benchy. It's a fast boat. Okay, let's see. So it wants me to update Orca. Interesting. So I installed this version. Does it come with the... Sovol Profiles Orca. Yeah, so it looks like I'll have to import these into my existing config. Let's see how that works. We file import configs in Orca Slicer. I'm navigating to my SD card, Orca Slicer Windows, profile, Sovol.json. There are 0 configs imported. Okay. Import configs. Sovol Filament machine. Sovol SV08. I wonder if it's only compatible with their other version. How do I access their other version if I already have a newer version enabled? Oh, there's a guide on how to import it. Oh, geez. Wow, you literally just drag and drop. Yeah, I'll let you guys figure that out, but I will release a updated profile that you can download for Orca Slicer 2.0. How do you get to software install Orca? Oh my god. Interesting. This really wants you to find where Orca Slicer is located. Location. Okay, there it is. All right. Is the extruder shroud different color from the corner gantry part? I can't really tell. I'm sure it's all the same color. Or very close. Wonder how long where everyone has their own little belt tuning app. Yeah. Well, what we're gonna do on another stream is we are going to run Shake and Tune. So I've already kind of showed you guys briefly how to use Shake and Tune from Klipper. But this would be a great printer to use it on. So I'll definitely show that up on one of my streams. And if enough people are interested, I can make a video showing how to use it and install it for the SV08. Okay, so go to our profiles. Orca Slicer, resources, profiles. Okay. And then I go to my SD card and I drag and drop the whole Sovol file there? All of it. Yeah, I guess so. So you're really manually installing that, aren't you? Interesting. So you just drag and drop this whole thing in here. And then replace files, I'm guessing? Sure. All right. Then we'll try relaunching Orca, see if that breaks everything. Oh, I already had it installed, or open. Oh, let's try that again. Make a video. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Sooner the better. I could just do it live too. Is it going default speed or faster because of speed benchy? This is not a speed benchy. This is a fast boat. And this is a pre-sliced file. Let me go into printers now. I'm just doing this all on my end. Let's see if Sovol has a new file. SV06. Yeah, it is there. Cool. SV08. Nice, that did work. So I'm now seeing SV08 on my Orca Slicer, and this is the most recent version of Orca Slicer. There we go. Nice. So first layer height 0.25. Looks like pretty standard. I'm already seeing some stuff that I would change. Okay, yep. It'll need a little bit of tuning. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. All right. It'll probably be good enough to get started, but there is a lot of stuff that I'm going to recommend changing and optimizing. So, all right. Not bad. I will slice some stuff up off stream. But for now, it looks like this boat is going. It looks like it is a way too fast boat. Polymaker PLA is not super high speed, which is known, but it seems like it's still doing a pretty good job, all things regardless. We're pretty much maxing out the speeds of everything, and it's looking like a boat. in my opinion, this is not the best first test to do in your printer, besides checking out movement speeds. That's pretty much it. Oh, also, we haven't tuned input shaper yet. That'll be important. There is a very generic, weird input shaper, not weird, but a default that you're not going to want to use. You're going to need to run the input shaping macro, whatever the heck that process is. I don't even know if it's in the manual, but there's probably, let's see, is it a, let's check out this really handy screen setting. So advanced, we can do PID tuning. How do we do our input shaping? Auto calibrate, maybe that's, it does under that. Maybe under auto calibrate? All right. Yeah, so we're gonna do an auto calibrate. I'll do that off stream and then I'll share the results. But yeah, I mean, fast boat. It's a printer. It works. So we'll just kind of summarize. So Sovol sent me over this printer for my testing and evaluation. Can I swap to a tool changer? Maybe. It's definitely not going to be perfect if you do. You'll have to have some external bracing, but I think it's possible. Yeah, possible. We'll have to see with time. But yeah, I definitely think it'll be possible to install something because it looks like this bar just comes right out. So I'm sure we can make a mod for it. Yeah, all right. We'll see about that. Does it print well? Well, the walls of this bench here are looking actually really good, considering it's pushing the filament probably faster than it should. Yeah, seems like it prints okay by first impression. I'll have to do much more testing, big testing with a tuned profile. The motor's not super hot. Ouch. Yep, reasonably hot, but exactly as hot as I would expect them to be. That's good. Hot is good, means the motors are actually using up their capacity. The belt path. My belt path seems fine. Let me check the front. Yeah, it looks fine. I've seen some other people with a much less than ideal belt path. That seems good. Pull it off the bed. You can see that our Z offset was very wrong. So the auto Z offset calibration did not work well. But that being said, it's a good starting point and you will need to tune it manually. Walls, yeah, pretty good. Again, this is a speed boat, you know, a fast boat. But yeah, I mean, you can see it looks pretty good. Cooling, almost sufficient, which is kind of crazy. Ooh, lots more issues on that side. That's funny. So much better cooling. How was this? Like this? Wow, wait a minute. More cooling towards the back than the front. Huh. Interesting, because the big fan's in the front. Alright, I'll leave you the judge of that. Looks like it's under extruding a little bit too, so not the best first print, but we got a print off of it, and that's all that matters. It prints. There we go. The bench looks tiny, doesn't it, compared to the whole printer? There we go. So it prints. It was reasonably easy to assemble. Not the most complicated, but not the easiest. I would say kind of low to mid difficulty. Front fan wasn't spinning. Oh, did I not plug it in? Did I not plug in the front fan all the way? Did I plug it into the wrong slot? Oh. That's entirely possible. Well, now you let me know. Well, that is... There's fan 3 up there. Hold on. Which port is it supposed to be? Because there's 2 ports that it can both go to. That's a major oversight. Especially since they require you to take off the cover. I think it's... Wow, that's very... I think it's the lower one. Wonder what that top slot's for. Interesting. Let's see. I can just turn on the fan. Fan on. Oh, there we go. Ha! Well, that's a loud fan. Well then. Turns out that was only done... Don't touch the bed. Use your nice hex scraper. Wherever that went. There we go. Well, you know, gotta say, that went surprisingly well for only using that tiny little rear fan. That's actually good tests. Wow. So this side right here was cooled only with the tiny little blower fan on the back. And that's with no cooling. Huh. Cool. Alright. Do over. I'm gonna slice a proper benchy in the future. But the stream is getting quite late, so I think we're gonna call it there. I would say it's my fault, but I just plugged the fan back in. So that's kind of, again, an oversight on their part, having multiple, like a free connector. I don't even know what that was for. Would be cool if they had a pinout for the toolhead board in their manual. They have one for the main board, but I don't think they have one for the toolhead board. They don't. Huh, that's alright. Hey, benchy, with minimal cooling. I generally don't like printing stuff from the SD card anyway because I can't just use that profile to slice things. So it's all pointless to me having anything on the SD card. Port directions, yeah, I mean, it technically does kind of tell you that it goes in the lower slot. Kind of, but that's not enough for what I'm considering an average user is gonna just avoid that. Same thing with this cable thingy in the back. It's a lot of it, you have to kind of know what you're doing to get it installed really well. I've seen some YouTubers with this belt the other way, and the belt's like on the bed. Not the belt, the cable. So it really shows how many people, or if you've built one of these printers before from scratch, or if this is your first printer. So this has been my experience with the SV08, unboxing it, having built multiple Voron 2.4s. Do I think it's good? I think currently this seems fine. I don't have any issues with it that would prevent me from recommending purchasing one. For the full review, if I make one, stay tuned. It will need many, many, many kilograms of filament put through it. At this time, you know, that would be you know, probably a couple months of usage before I would release a proper review. But as a first impression, first look, I'll give it like an almost thumbs up. So, that being said, if you're not subscribed yet to my YouTube channel, click the subscribe button down below. Make sure to like the video and leave a comment. Would you buy one of these? And if you did, what would you mod first? What's the first thing that you would change from the stock design? Let me know in the comments. Maybe check out some of my other videos where I unbox some other printers or build a Voron 2.4 or a Micron or one of the other printers. Got lots of content over on YouTube, so check it out. That being said, have a good night, good morning, good evening, and goodbye.